Hello students. Today we will be starting chapter 13 limits and derivatives of class 11. In this chapter we will be knowing what is limit, how to find the limit, when the limit exists, to find the left hand limit, right hand limit. Also we will be knowing about the derivatives, what is derivative, to find the derivative of a given function by first principle method, and hence using some formulas, some rules to differentiate or find the derivative of some functions. Now this limits and derivatives is the introduction to calculus, which is a branch of mathematics which mainly deals with the study of change in the value of a function as the points in the domain change. Now before knowing the chapter or before knowing what is limit, before knowing what is derivative and all, let us do a simple question that find the value of the function fx is equals to x cube at x is equals to 1. Now simply if we put x is equals to 1 over here, we will be getting fx value as 1. Now a bit change I am doing in this question. Find the value of the function fx is equals to x cube at values nearer to 1 as well as at x is equals to 1. Now for this, nearer to 1 means the value we can take less than 1 as well as 1, means at x is equals to 1. So the value of x can be taken less than 1 as well as more than 1. Now less than 1, if we take, we will be writing x tending to 1 minus, and more than 1 we will be writing x tending to 1 plus, means we are taking more than 1 a bit, and that value is taken as small as possible, means just nearer to 1. X is equals to 1 over here. Now let us make a table for that. So this is the value of x, and what we will be getting when we will substitute the value of x, means fx values. So suppose we are taking the value, the middle means over here we will be taking more, over here less. So at x is equals to 1 I am writing over here, we are getting fx is equals to 1. Now less than 1 I am writing over here 0.999. So we will be getting the value over here as 0.997002999, and this is illustration 2 of NCERT. You can refer from there. Similarly, if we take a bit more than 1, that is over here 1.001, the value which will come is 1.00300, then 3001. A bit more, so it will be 1.030301. Over here also 0.99, the value will be 0.997002999. So we can observe that whether we take the values a bit lesser than 1, or if we take the values bit more than 1, or if we take the value 1, in all the cases fx is approximately equals to 1 only. At x is equals to 1, fx was 1. At x is equals to 1 plus, it is approximately 1 itself. At fx is equals to 1 means at x tending to 1 minus, fx value was 1 only. So we can say over here, now the concept of the left hand limit and the right hand limit will come. So when x was approaching to the values less than 1, it is called the, and whatever values we were getting when we were putting the values of x less than 1, the value what we were getting is called the left hand limit. And the values, when we were putting the values of x more than 1, the value is called the right hand limit. So over here we can say that limit x tending to 1 minus equals to, here fx also we can write, equals to limit x tending to 1 plus fx equals to limit x tending to 1 fx. So if such case arises that left hand limit equals to right hand limit equals to the value of the function at that point, then limit exists. So here we can say that the limit exists. Yes, and after this we can write that therefore limit exists. So to some extent a brief idea of the limit. Limit is written as LIMIT limit, or in short form while we will be solving the sum, so we can write over here limit x tending to 1 or 0, or what means whatever it is mentioned in the question, or somewhere it is written LT dot as well. So LIM dot, LT dot, or simply limit also you can write as per your convenience. So what is limit? Limit of a function exists if we see that at a particular point the values from the left hand side as well as the right hand side are approaching the same value at a given point. Let us take one more question. The question is, find the value of fx is equals to x square minus 1 by x minus 1 for the values of x nearer to 1. Okay, so here we observe that here for values of x greater than 1, means from the right side. So suppose over here x 1 from the right side and from the left side. Right side a bit more, means 1.01, 1.001, 1.0001 and so on. And over here 0.99, 0.999, 0.49 and so on. Means values at x is equals to 1, but one from the left hand side and the other from the right hand side. So let us find the value at x is equals to 0.9, fx will be equals to 1.9. Now how I got the value directly? Because means simple calculation, if you cancel the x minus 1 term, you will be getting x plus 1. That is in my mind. Right now I am not showing that I am cancelling. Just fx is equals to, if you solve it mentally, you will be getting x plus 1. So whatever values of x you are putting plus 1 you will be getting the value of fx. And x is equals to 0.99, fx you will be getting as 1.99, x is equals to 0.999, fx you will be getting as 1.999. So what we observe? So we observe that as we are moving closer to x is equals to 1 from left hand side fx is moving closer to 2. These all values are closer to 2. Now for right hand side, let us take means values a bit more than infinitesimally small, greater than x we can take. So at x is equals to 1.1, add 1, fx is equals to 2.1, x is equals to 1.01, fx is equals to 2.01, x is equals to 1.001, fx is equals to 2.001, and so on. So what we observe again over here? So we observe that as we are moving closer to x is equals to 1 from right hand side, fx is moving closer to 2. So we can say over here that limit extending to 1 minus fx equals to limit x tending to 1 plus fx equals to 2. So children, what we observe over here is left hand limit equals to right hand limit equals to 2. But in the function, if we put x is equals to 1 over here, the function will not be defined. That is, we will be getting a value which is indeterminate form or undefined form. So let us first understand what is indeterminate form or undefined form. Now, whenever an undefined form or indeterminate form of function comes in limits, we first change that undefined form or indeterminate form to a defined form by various methods which we will be knowing further. Now the various methods includes factorization, rationalization, removing the common term, and so on. So let us first know the forms of the indeterminate forms or undefined forms. Now there are 7 forms of indeterminate forms of a function or undefined forms of a functions. So children, now let us understand or let us know the indeterminate formats. So if we define the indeterminate formats are the form of the functions in which we can't determine the values. Now as I was saying, there are 7 indeterminate formats. The first one is 0 by 0. For example, I have created few functions that if we limit x tending to 0, 1 minus cos x by x square. So if we put x is equals to 0 over here, you can see cos 0 is 1, so 1 minus 1 is 0, and over here x as 0, then it will be taking the form of 0 by 0. Infinity by infinity. Example, limit x tending to infinity, x square by e power x. So if we put x is equals to infinity over here, we will be getting infinity by infinity form. Infinity minus infinity. So one example I have written, limit x tending to infinity under root 1 plus x square minus of x. So over here under root 1 plus infinity, obviously it will be infinity minus infinity form. Infinity into 0, limit x tending to pi by 2, tan pi by 2 is infinity and cos pi by 2 is 0. So infinity into 0 form, and so on. I mean, you can create the sums by your own. So we are targeting now, we have the main concern over here to know the indeterminate formats. So indeterminate formats, again I am repeating, is 0 by 0, infinity by infinity, infinity minus infinity, infinity into 0 form. The first 4 forms. Now in these, the first 2, that is 0 by 0 and infinity by infinity formats, only you means to some extent 90% of the questions in standard 11 you will be getting in these 2 forms only. So most of the sums, when you get in the form of 0 by 0 or infinity by infinity, we will be converting it to the defined form with the help of the known concepts or with the help of the formulas. The other rest 3 indeterminate formats are 0 by 0, 0 power 0, infinity power 0, and 1 power infinity. Now in the junior classes you were taught that any number power 0 is 1. So any number, that in place of any number you can replace now as any non-zero and finite number. Any non-zero and finite number power 0 is only 1. But over here 0 power 0 and infinity power 0, this is 0 and this is infinite. So 0 power 0 and infinite power 0 is not defined. Again 1 power infinity is not defined. Again in the junior classes we were taught that 1 power any number is 1 only. Okay, so that any number now replaced by finite number. So 1 power finite number is only 1. 1 power infinity is not defined. So once you memorize it, it will hardly take fraction of seconds to memorize this. This 0 by 0 and infinity by infinity is quite obvious. Infinity minus infinity and infinity into 0. Now 0 power infinity, 0 power 0 and infinity power 0. And 1 power infinity. The 7 indeterminate forms, it should be kept in your mind. Now let us go to the main topic of this chapter, that is the definition of limits. What is left hand limit? What is right hand limit? Proper definition. So let us move to the definition of limit. Now limit. If a function fx tends to L when x tends to a, then this limit, then this number L is called the limit of the function fx. Now symbolically we write it as limit x tending to a fx is equals to L, or lt dot x tending to a fx is equals to L. Now simply when fx tends to L, if fx tends to L when x tends to a, then L is called the limit of the function fx at x is equals to a. Now left hand limit and right hand limit. We have discussed something before this definition. To some extent we are knowing what is left hand limit and right hand limit, but means process wise the definition is written over here. Left hand limit, a real number L1. Here I have written L for left hand limit, I will be writing L1. For right hand limit, I will be writing L2. A real number L1 is the left hand limit of a function at x is equals to a if the values of the fx can be made as close to L1 at the points close to a and on the left of a. This is all language. The best thing is so we will be taking the values a bit smaller than a, then we will be getting the values as x tending to a minus whatever values we are getting for fx, that is the left hand limit. So symbolically we write LHL equals to limit x tending to a minus fx equals to limit s tending to 0 f of a minus h. Take care of a here. Limit x tending to a minus fx has been changed to limit s tending to 0 f of a minus h. Take care if it is limit x tending to 2, we were taking the values a bit for the left hand limit, we were taking the values just closer to 2 but a bit smaller than 2. So that smaller, a bit smaller, that bit smaller is h only over here. So I think that much small so that we can write h tending to 0. Okay, so h tends to 0, that much difference we can take it tending to 0. So equals to limit s tending to 0 f of a minus h equals to L1. Okay, so similarly we can define the right hand limit also. The similar definition you can define. The definition never comes, children, only the thing you understand the concept. So a real number L2 is called the right hand limit of a function at x is equals to a if the values of the function fx can be made as close to L2 at the points close to a and on the right of a. Right of a. Symbolically we write right hand limit equals to limit x tending to a plus fx equals to limit s tending to 0 f of a plus h equals to L2. So I think now you understand the limit, the right hand limit and the left hand limit. Now existence of limit. So obviously a limit exists if left hand limit equals to right hand limit equals to the value of the function at that point. So existence of limit, if we talk about, we can write existence of limit. The limit of a function exists the limit of a function exists if the left hand limit and right hand limit coincide with the value of the function at that point. That is, limit x tending to a minus fx equals to limit x tending to a plus fx equals to limit x tending to a fx for a given point x is equals to a. So to some extent now we are knowing what is limit, what is left hand limit, what is right hand limit, and how when a limit exists. So now let us proceed for the method of solving the sums based on the limits and directly go to solving the sums. Now method of solving sums by left hand limit and right hand limit method. So first of all, let for LHL I am doing, okay, let the given function be limit x tending to a fx. Now write LHL equals to limit x tending to a minus fx equals to limit s tending to 0 f of a minus h, and hence solve. Okay. Similarly for right hand limit the same thing, but RHL we will be writing as limit x tending to a plus fx from right side equals to limit h tending to 0 f of a plus h, and hence solve. Let me explain this with the help of an example. Let fx is equals to mod of x minus 3 by x minus 3 at x not equals to 3 and equals to 0 at x is equals to 3. So this function is defined as such. A function fx is defined as mod of x minus 3 by x minus 3 at x not equals to 3 and equals to 0 at x equals to 3. The question is find the left hand limit of fx at x equal to 3. Find the left hand limit of fx at x equals to 3. Find left hand limit and right hand limit of fx at x is equals to 3. Now in the solution part, as I said, the method of solving, clearly you will be writing LHL equals to limit x tending to 3 minus fx equals to limit x tending to, we can write in place of x this one, 3 minus mod of x minus 3 by x minus 3. Or what we can do is directly we can write over here limit s tending to 0 f of 3 minus of what we write limit x tending to a minus fx. After that what I said, limit s tending to 0 f of a minus h. Here a is how much? 3. So over here we will be writing 3 minus of h. Now simply we will be finding the value by solving. So this will be equals to limit s tending to 0 f of 3 minus, if fx is equal to this much, f of 3 minus h we will be calculating as only what we will be doing in place of x, we will be putting 3 minus h. So 3 minus h minus 3 by 3 minus h minus 3. So we will be getting over here equals to limit s tending to 0 mod of minus h by minus h equals to limit s tending to 0 mod of minus h will be h by minus h. So this will be equals to limit s tending to 0 minus 1 equals to minus 1. Okay. Similarly right hand limit we will be finding limit x tending to 3 plus fx equals to limit s tending to 0 f of 3 plus of h equals to limit s tending to 0 mod of 3 plus h minus of 3 by 3 plus h minus of 3 equals to limit s tending to 0 mod of h by h equals to limit s tending to 0 mod of h will be h by h equals to limit s tending to 0 1 equals to 1. So we observe that left hand limit is not equals to right hand limit. So same method I did over here. What the steps of solving the sum, whatever I explained, the same thing I have done over here. Now one alternate method also is there. What we will be doing, actually we will be solving it in its simplest form, and then also we can do. Here fx is equals to mod of x minus 3 by x minus 3 equals to x minus 3 by x minus 3 if, over here we will be writing that if x is, over here mod of x minus 3 is greater than 0, that is x is greater than 3. Now equals to 1 if x is greater than 3. Now this equals to minus of x minus 3 by x minus 3 if x minus 3 is less than 0, that is x is less than 3. So this will be equals to minus 1 if x is less than 3. Okay. So fx is equals to 1 if x is greater than 0 and equals to minus 1 if x is, if x is greater than 3 and equals to minus 1 if x is less than 3. Okay. Now we will be, therefore fx equals to 1 if x is greater than 3 equals to minus 1 if x is less than 3 and equals to 0 at x is equals to 3. And so this question now has been reframed in this form. Now for LHL, what we will be doing, LHL equals to limit x tending to 3 minus fx equals to, simply we will be writing over here because we are getting a constant term. So fx is 3 minus means less than 3. We will be getting over here minus 1. So minus 1. RHL equals to limit x tending to 3 plus fx equals to limit x tending to 3 plus, for the positive it is 1. So answer is 1. Therefore left hand limit is not equals to right hand limit. So same means the answer we got the same, but the method of solution you must have seen for the modulus. we can simplify it and hence solve, or if you want the use of the limit s tending to 0 and show the process, that also I have shown. So children, with this sum, I think to some extent the concept of the limit you have understood. Let us do one sum based on the greatest integer function. The question is, find the left hand limit and right hand limit of the function fx is equals to the greatest integer function x at x is equals to k. Now take care, over here the point is not specified, a general point x is equals to k is written. Also show that limit x tending to k fx does not exist. So in the solution part, we have fx is equals to the greatest integer function x. Now for left hand limit, limit x tending to k minus fx equals to limit s tending to 0 f of k minus of x equals to limit s tending to 0, k minus of h, a minus of h, so k minus of h. So over here equals to limit s tending to 0, greatest integer function k minus of h equals to limit s tending to 0, k minus of 1. Here fx is equals to greatest integer function x, so f of k minus h will be greatest integer function k minus h. Now greatest integer function k minus h, because k is an integer and so that integer minus something, means greatest integer function k minus h, the number will be k minus of 1. So this will be equals to k minus 1. Let us find the right hand limit. Right hand limit equals to limit x tending to k plus fx equals to limit s tending to 0 f of k plus h. Now f of k plus h will be equals to limit s tending to 0 greatest integer function k plus of h. Now something plus 1, greatest integer function k plus h, value will be k. So we see that left hand limit is k minus 1, right hand limit is k. Therefore left hand limit is not equals to right hand limit. Therefore simply we can write that limit x tending to k fx does not exist. So both the sums are important, children. Please do practice it. Or I am writing the topic over here, algebra of limits. Let f and g be two real valued functions with common domain D such that limit x tending to a fx and limit x tending to a gx exist. Then these rules you keep in mind. Limit x tending to a f plus gx is equals to limit x tending to a fx plus limit x tending to a gx. That is, in a sentence we can say, or in words we can say, that the limit of the sum of the two functions is equal to the sum of the limits of the two functions. Number 2, the limit of the difference of the two functions is the difference of the limit of the functions. Third, limit of the product of a constant and one function is equal to the product of that constant and the limit of a function. Number 4th, the limit of the product of the two functions is equals to the product of the limit of the functions. And last one, the limit of the quotient of the two functions is the quotient of the limit of the two functions. So this is general rule which you should keep in mind while solving the sums based on the limits. That is, suppose over here limit x tending to 2, it is given over here fx in place of fx, let us write over here x square plus of 2x. So we can write this as limit x tending to 2x square plus limit x tending to 2x. These are the general basic rules which I think you have understood and which you must be knowing as well. Now let us know how to solve the sums based on limits. Now let us understand the methods of solving sums based on limits. Now the different type of the functions you are knowing can be polynomial function, rational function, trigonometric function, logarithmic function, exponential function, and so on. So a brief idea of the type of the function and how to solve the sums of that type of the functions will give you idea to solve the sums in the exercise as well as if it is coming in the competitive examinations as well. So first is polynomial function. Polynomial, you are knowing an expression of the form px is equals to ax power n plus if a1 x power n minus 1 plus a2 x power n minus 2 and so on, where a0, if I write a0 over here, a0, a1, a2, a3 up to an and so on are the real numbers and power of n should be a whole number. Or simply you can give an example over here that px is equals to suppose I write 2x square plus of 3x plus 2 is a quadratic polynomial, and over here as we write the value of n, that type of polynomial we will be getting. I mean right now we will not be going in detail what is a polynomial. So simply if it is a polynomial function, we use the algebra of the limits. Right now we have understood the algebra of the limits and then put the limit and simplify. No issue over here. Now in rational function. Now rational function, we know that rational function in the form of p by q. Rational number is in the form of p by q where q is not equals to 0 and p and q are integers. So a function fx in the form of gx by hx is called a rational function where hx should not be 0. Now to find the limit at x tending to a, suppose the limit x tending to a fx will be limit x tending to a gx by hx. Now again using the algebra of the limits, limit x tending to a gx by limit x tending to a hx. Now suppose this value is coming as ga and ha. Now over here two cases arise. If here if ha is not 0, then no issue, we will be finding the value. But if ha is 0, then two cases will arise. If this one is 0 and ga is not 0, ga is not equal to 0, means this is not equals to 0 and this is 0, then we will be writing that the limit does not exist. Simply we will be writing limit does not exist. But if this is equals to 0 and this also equals to 0, then we are getting a 0 by 0 form, and then we will be able to find the limit with the help of the formulas which we have known and which we will be knowing further as well. Now method of solving the rational function is, as we know the rational function is in the form of hx by gx or fx by gx. Then methods of solving the rational function is, okay, let me rub it and then I'll be writing. The rational function only I am writing over here, a rational function. So in rational function, the ways in which we can solve the rational function is, first is by direct substitution method. Direct substitution method. Substitution method. So for example, a function is given fx is equals to 3x by, suppose 3x square by x, or we can write over here 3x square plus 1 by x, and the limit which we have to find is at suppose x is equals to 1. So we will do limit x tending to 1 fx is equals to simply limit x tending to 1 3x square plus 1 by x. So we will put the value over here. So 3 plus 1 4, 4 by 1 that is 4 is the answer. We will be simply putting the value direct substitution if an indeterminate form is not coming. Okay. Now if the function is in indeterminate form, then then we apply the following methods to convert it to defined function. That is number 1, factorization method, and number 2, rationalization method. And means one formula also is there that we can use, that I'll be explaining also properly in detail. That is, if n is any positive integer, then limit x tending to a, remember x tending to a, x to the power n minus a to the power n by x minus a equals to n a power n minus 1. Remember, x is tending to a. Factorization method, you can take the one example as, for example, limit x tending to 1, x square minus 1 by x minus 1. Okay, so obviously over here if I put x is equals to 1, it is coming of the form 0 by 0 form. Always check and then only proceed. 0 by 0 form. So this will be equals to limit x tending to 1, x minus 1, x plus 1 by x minus 1. So these two will be cancelled and we'll be getting limit x tending to 1, x plus 1, and this will be equals to 2. So by factorization we converted this to the defined form, and hence we got the limiting value. Now rationalization. So rationalization, we will have to find a sum in which square root is there. So suppose this sum is there. In the sum, limit x tending to 0 under root of 2 plus of x minus of under root 2 by x. Suppose I had to create one sum such that this is coming in some 0 by 0 or undefined form. So if I put x is equal to 0, it will be root 2 minus root 2 by this will be 0 by 0 form. So I'll be writing over here 0 by 0 form. Now to convert this to defined form, since root is there, we will always try first of rationalization. So this will be equals to limit x tending to 0 under root 2 plus x minus of root 2 by under root 2 plus of x plus of root 2 by x into under root 2 plus of x plus of root 2. So this will be equals to limit x tending to 0, 2 plus x minus of 2 divided by x into root 2 plus of x plus of root 2. So this 2 and x will be cancelled. So we'll be getting over here limit x tending to 0, 1 by under root 2 plus of x plus of root 2. Okay? Now simply over here this indeterminate form has come to a defined form. Now put the value. So this will be equals to 1 by root 2 plus of root 2 equals to 1 by 2 root 2. By direct substitution over here we got the value. So rationalization method, using this formula also, let me find a sum. Limit x tending to 2, suppose x to the power 10 minus 1024 divided by x minus 2. Now if we put x is equals to 2 over here, so 2 power 10 is 1024, so 1024 minus 1024 is 0, and over here 0, 2 minus 2 is 0, so this one is 0 by 0 form. Okay? So this is 0 by 0 form. Now we will be using the formula over here. So this will be equals to limit x tending to 2, x to the power 10 minus 2 to the power 10 by x minus 2. So this will be, and over here in this formula, x power n minus a power n divided by x minus a, where a is 2 and n is 10. A is 2 and n is 10. So n a power n minus 1. So over here we can write this as 10 a is how much? 2 power n minus 1, that is 10 minus 1. So this will be equals to 10 into 2 power 9, and this calculation you will have to do equals to 5120, or half of 1024 is means obviously 2 to the power 9. So the answer is 5120. So similarly we can use this three concepts in many of the sums, and will be solving the sums accordingly. Now let us move to the third type of the function, that is trigonometric functions. Now trigonometric functions also, trigonometric functions. Now in this also, the first method is direct substitution. Direct substitution. Substitution. If it is not in indeterminate form. Indeterminate form. Okay. Now number 2, if it is in the indeterminate form, we use the following formulas or rules, we can say. The following rules or formulas can be used. That is, number A is limit x tending to 0 sin x by x equals to 1. Keep in mind x, and over here it should be x. Number B, limit x tending to 0 tan x by x is also equals to 1. And from this we can deduce one result that, okay, I am writing in number C only, limit x tending to 0 1 minus of cos x by x equals to 0. Actually from this formula we have derived this one. Question, limit theta tending to 0 theta into cosec theta. Now this is in the form of 0 into cosec 0. Sin 0 is 0, so cosec 0 is 1 by 0, that is infinity. So this is of the form 0 into infinity form. So this I can write as limit theta tending to 0 theta by sin theta. Now this, remember this, sin theta by theta is 1. So this now I can write as limit theta tending to 0 1 by sin theta by theta. Now this will be equals to, by the algebra of the limits rule, so limit, because limit theta tending to 0 1 will be 1 only, 1 by limit theta tending to 0 sin theta by theta. Now this formula I can use, and I can write over here 1 by 1 equals to 1. And if you feel to write the formula, you can write limit theta tending to 0 sin theta by theta equals to 1. Let us do one more sum. Limit x tending to 0 sine of 3x by 5x. Now over here sine of means theta, in place of theta it is 3x, so I want 3x also in the denominator. So what I can do is limit x tending to 0 sine of 3x by 3x, means whole theta I am writing over here as 3x. Now over here it is 5x, so I will be writing over the, because 5 was already over here, this 3 I have added, means divided over here, so 3 I will be multiplying also over here. Now over here in place of x tending to 0, if x is tending to 0, so obviously 3x also is tending to 0. So now this I can write as 3 by 5 limit 3x tending to 0 and sine of 3x by 3x. So directly I can write over here 1, or if you wish you can write over here let 3x is equals to theta. So this will be reduced to limit theta tending to 0 sine theta by theta, and now this I can write as 1. So this answer is 3 by 5 into 1 equals to 3 by 5. So I think you understand how to mold the formulas. Now always keep in mind these all means in formulas the sign of this much is in radian, this x is in radian. Now suppose why I said radian, because one example I am giving over here. Find limit x tending to 0 tan of x degree by x degree. Now here directly I cannot use the formula limit theta tending to 0 tan theta by theta equals to 1, because I again repeat over there in formula also you write theta is in radian. So this I have to convert to radian. So this I can write as limit theta tending to 0 over x tending to limit x tending to 0. Over here I will have to convert it pi x by 180 and divided by pi x by 180, because 1 degree is equals to pi by 180 radian. ठीक है. So this will be equals to limit. Now we can use it. If x is tending to 0, then pi x by 180 also will tend to 0. So now I can write over here pi x by 180 tend to 0, and over here tan of pi x by 180 by pi x by 180, and now I can write this as 1. So if it is mentioned in degree, convert it to radian and then only solve. I was dealing metric functions. So trigonometric functions, first by direct substitution, second by using the formulas. 3 formulas I gave. Now trigonometric formulas can be done by the method of this rational function as well, in the form of the rational function as well, by factorization. So we can do the factorization also to solve the trigonometric functions. One question I am taking limit x tending to pi by 6 cot square x minus of 3 by cosec x minus of 2. So over here we have to let me see that what is the value pi by 6. Pi by 6 is how much? 30 degree. Now cot 30 is tan 30 is 1 by root 3. So cot 30 is root 3. So root 3 square is 3, and cosec 30 sin 30 is 1 by 2. So cosec 30 is 2. So 2 minus 2. So this is in the form of 0 by 0 form. So we can write over here it is in the form of 0 by 0 form. Now over here this I can write as limit x tending to pi by 6. Now this I can write as cot square x as cosec square x minus of 1 minus of 3 by, either we can change this one or this one, because since it is in the square and the square identity we are knowing. So cot square x is equals to cosec square x minus 1 and minus of 3 divided by cosec x minus of 2. Now this I can write as limit x tending to pi by 6. Now I think you got the answer. Cosec square x minus of 4 by cosec x minus of 2. So this limit x tending to pi by 6. Now cosec x minus 2 will be cancelled and we are left with cosec x plus of 2. Now put the value. Now cosec 30, sin 30 is 1 by 2. So cosec 30 is 2 plus 2, that is 4. So answer will be 4. So in this way also we can solve the trigonometric functions. Now let us move to the exponential function. We know that exponential function is of the form e to the power x. Now if we talk about the graph of the exponential function that you have done in chapter 2, that is graph of the exponential function is like this. The domain of the exponential function is all real numbers and the range is 0 to infinite, where 0 is not included. Now the rule which we will be using in the exponential function is actually over here, limit x tending to 0, a power x minus 1 by x is equals to log of a. Now in NCERT, we will be following the natural logarithm. So whenever the base is not mentioned, we will be assuming it e only. Now over here, in place of a, if it is e, so limit x tending to 0, e to the power x minus 1 by x is log of e base e, and log e base e is always equals to 1. So most of the sums will be coming like this, means based on this formula only, limit x tending to 0, e to the power x minus 1 by x is equals to 1. Here also, by direct substitution, it is coming to be a defined method. We will be putting the value defined means directly. Otherwise, if it is coming in any of the indeterminate form, we will be converting to this form, and hence will be using this formula and will be solving the sums. Let us take one or two more examples, one or two questions related to means or the use of these formulas. So one sum I am doing over here, limit x tending to 0, e to the power x plus e to the power minus x minus of 2 by x square. So obviously over here, if I put x is equals to 0, this is 0 already, and e to the power 0 is 1, and e to the power over here, I will not put e to the power minus 0, I will be putting e to the power minus x, we will be writing as 1 by e to the power x, and 1 by e to the power 0 will be 1 by 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 minus 2 is 0, so this is in the form of 0 by 0 form. Now we will be converting to this formula, and then we'll be using this formula to get the limit. Now this I can write as, always keep in mind, e to the power minus x, means whenever the power of e is coming as negative, we will convert it to positive by taking its reciprocal form. I mean e to the power minus x we can write as 1 by e power x. We will simplify it, and then only we will be seeing it for its means validity or indeterminate form. Limit x tending to 0, e to the power x plus 1 by e to the power x minus 2 by x square. I think you understood what I want to say. That is, e to the power, if it is negative, convert it to a positive form by converting this or sending it to the denominator. So this I can now write as e to the power 2x plus 1 minus 2e to the power x divided by e to the power x into x square. Okay? Oh, this limit x tending to 0 was there. Limit x tending to 0. Now we will have to solve it. So this now I can write as limit x tending to 0. You can see over here, e to the power 2x I can write as e power x whole square minus 2 e to the power x into 1 plus of 1 square divided by over here e to the power x into x square. Now I can write as over here x square into e to the power minus x. Or we can leave it as e to the power x in the denominator as well. This I wanted to set in the form of a formula. That's why I kept separate. So this is limit x tending to 0, e to the power x minus 1 by x whole square. We can write it as such. Okay? Into limit x tending to 0, e to the power minus x. Or we can write over here, if you are confused, 1 by e to the power x you can write, and over here 1 by e to the power x you can write. Now this limit x tending to 0, e to the power x minus 1 by x is 1. So I can write over here 1 into 1 by e to the power 0 is 1. So this will be equals to 1. So I think you understood this solution. Now next let us do logarithmic function. Now logarithmic function, we know that y is equals to log of x base e, or we can say e to the power y equals to x. The graph, as we have done in chapter 2, the graph of the logarithmic function e to the power y equals to x is in this form, which passes through 1 0. Obviously the domain is all positive numbers and the range is all real numbers. Now the formula which we will be using in solving the sums based on logarithmic functions is limit x tending to 0, log of 1 plus x base e divided by x is equals to 1, or limit x tending to 0, log of 1 minus x base e by minus x is equals to 1. This base e is not required to be mentioned. It is understood it is natural logarithm. So log of 1 plus x by x is equals to 1 and log of 1 minus x by minus x is equals to 1 if limit x tending to 0. So let us do one question. Find limit x tending to 0 log e 1 plus of 2x by x 1 plus of 2x by of x. This is the direct utilization, because in place of here everywhere this is x, so this also is x, means 3x. So over here if it is 2x, I'll make it 2x, and here also I'll make it 2x. So this I can write as limit 2x tending to 0 log of e 1 plus of 2x by 2x into 2. So this whole is 1 into 2 equals to 2. So to some extent all types of the functions we have discussed. Now we will be going directly to the exercise sums, and we'll be utilizing the concept which we have done in all this introduction of the limits. After solving the sums of the NCERT, we'll be going to the derivatives section. Now obviously the sums of the exercises all I will not be doing. Whichever I feel is to be discussed with you, I'll be doing. So till then, goodbye children. Thank you.